In this video, we'll cover the deform modifiers. So here, the first one, here, it's the armature. So an armature will make a deformation into an object, like it's a specific object that is here, the armature. It's a kind of skeleton that you use on a character, or maybe something that you want to rig. We call it rig in 3D. And that you want to deform with it. So it's a non-destructive system, very powerful one. It's the skeleton that makes your character moves and have some expressions and things like that. And we will have a full chapter about it. So yeah, a very powerful one. So first of all, we'll not talk about that one. In the next one, we have the cast. So yeah, the cast is a very basic one that you have, let's say, a cube, okay? We will subdivide it with before, like this we can see a little more what's happening here, okay? So let's say we will just make a simple subdivision here, okay? And I will decrease the factor to 0. Like this, it's a cube like before, and I will remove the optimal display like this. We really see what's happening. So here we have a cast with a sphere shape, and if you increase the factor, it will just go to a shape of a sphere. Okay? So very simple one. And you can increase into the negative side as well, negative side, or increase more, and it will create crazy shapes like this. Can be very interesting sometimes. So you have the radius of the shape here, you have the size, everything, and you have several basic objects, like for example, I could go to a cylinder here, okay, and it will create a cylinder shape. You have here a cuboid, so it's already a cube, but if you add here, let's say, a sphere, an icosphere, let's say, and with a lot of subdivisions like this, we can see what's happening. And we add again a deform cast here and use a cuboid here. You can see that it will go to a kind of cube shape. So yeah, sometimes can be useful, but always I don't use it that much, that one, huh? Honestly. Here we have the curve we did see already how it works more or less, and I will show you another example with the curve with a chain and a plant. So yeah, in the next exercises we will cover it a little more deeply, a very powerful one, as you know already. You have the displace one, and the displace one I will use here a plane. This plane, I will just subdivide it in edit mode a few times with Shift R to have a lot of vertices here. Okay, good. And I will remove the wireframe here just to show you what's happening. I can add a modifier, deform displace. Displace will displace the geometry at 1 meter, okay, to the direction of the normals of the face, of the faces that we have here. So they are all in the direction of the z-axis, so it goes 1 to the z-axis. But I can use a texture to change this. Like, let's say I would add a new texture. So we have a texture tab here that is specific, and when you select the object with the displace modifier, you can see that you have a specific displace texture. We will use it, and we will use a texture that is inside Blender. It's a procedural one, and let's add a cloud, okay? And you can see that now this texture will affect the geometry and deform the geometry with these values that you have. So the white values will make the geometry goes up, and the dark values will make the geometry go down. If you change the options of this texture here, like for example, let's add some depth here, and maybe from soft to hard, and we will have different behaviors here. So yeah, it can be very useful sometimes. if I increase or decrease the size, I will have something like maybe start almost like almost like before landscape, be a little landscape like this. Okay, so yeah, can be very powerful, that one. You can add your own black and white images in case you want to choose an image or movie. Here you have a square image, you add a square image with black and white values, and you can sculpt your object with that. So can be a powerful one here. The next one will be the hook. The hook is a specific one for the curves, and we will not talk that much about it here. We have the Laplacian deform. It's a little specific, this one. It's for increase the shapes, and yeah, let's say you have a character and you want to make an expression on it. Okay, so you can increase this expression and make it little more visible. But honestly, yeah, that one is not that interesting. The lattice one is important here. For example, let's add a monkey. Let's add a monkey, and let's add a new object that we didn't see yet. It's the lattice here. So we'll increase the radius of the lattice here and make it bigger than the object, like that. Okay, and you can deform this object with that one. But to do that, the best is to show you how to increase the resolution. So I will increase the resolution of it maybe by adding a few more resolution into that object and subdivision into that object. And now I can add a modifier lattice. And this lattice will be with this object. So now if I go inside the edit mode of the lattice here, I will have the deformation into Suzanne by moving here the vertices of the lattice. So it can be good sometimes to add some expressions or just move like tune or something like that. Can be useful. But there are other ways of doing that that are even more powerful. We have the mesh deform, and actually it's almost the same, but let's say I will add a cube. Okay, and like my cube is bigger and we cannot see what's happening inside, I can go inside my cube options here into the viewport display and go into wire. Like this, I'm sure that my object will stay a wire like that. And now I can select my object and make the same option with not a specific lattice object, but with a real mesh object. So very easier to manage. So what I will do, I will add a mesh deform to my Suzanne and select that one here. The only thing that I do is to use the bind option here. And now if I go into edit mode, I can select a vertex and it will move like that. So this one is it's almost the same and very powerful, even more powerful. So let's say, for example, you have a character and you can use a cage outside your character to add some expressions or things like that to move your character. So yeah, it can be very a good one. The next modifier here into the deform section is the shrink wrap. The shrink wrap is important to understand. So let's say I will remove that and make a Ctrl 2 to this. Good, and apply, just to have really a smooth surface here. And now I will add a mesh plane. And this plane, I will go into edit mode, scale it down, put it up, and subdivide it. So let's say I would like this plane to stick into the surface of Suzanne, okay? So I will add a modifier. It will be the shrink wrap. And I will just select the target option here and it will stick on the surface directly. So whatever I do here, it will stick on the surface, okay? It will take the nearest surface point. So it's good, for example, to go here and there, and if you are not that far, it will stick on the surface and try to keep the same shape. If you want the exact same shape, because you can see here when you are here in wireframe view that in object mode now my object is deformed by the way of the wrap method, the nearest surface point, it deforms my object. There is the option that is the project option here, and for that you have to use the negative option usually, and now you can see that in top view it projects directly into the surface. So can be very good, for example, if you want to, maybe we will not use this one, or we will smooth that one to create something more circular with Shift R. Okay, no, it's not really the good option, so I will add a circle for showing you that. So let's say you have a circle. You have a circle with 24 vertices here, and you want to close everything with Ctrl F here, grid fill, and it will create this kind of nice surface with squares only. Increase the offset to have something good here. Okay, good. So now you have this surface, and again I would like to project it into the head of Suzanne. So I will maybe want to make a hat. Okay, so I will scale like this. I will put it there, scale it into the x-axis maybe, and let's make a hat on Suzanne. Okay, so for that we'll add a modifier, and the shrink wrap, we will wrap it here, and we will use the project and use the negative option like this. It will be there. Okay, and now whatever thing you will do into that object will stick again, except if you go over the surface here. So if you go over, you can see that now the vertices are not projected because there is nothing to project on it. Okay, so it's important to understand that. But except that, you can just have something like this, and now you can add another modifier, like for example surface generate this one like a solidify, and increase the solidify mode until you have the right thickness and the offset to go outside, let's say. Okay, so now you will have this kind of surface here, and now you can add another subdivision surface here to have a new object that will stick. And what is good is that you can make it stick on whatever surface. So if I just scale it down, it will still stick. If I move it like this, it will stick. Okay, so that's what is good with this kind of technique. Can be very useful. Okay, in the next deform one, it will be the simple deform. So let's go into a cube for that one, maybe. We'll go into a cube, and this cube will subdivide it a few times to see what's happening really. Okay, now if I add a modifier here, deform, mesh deform, no, simple deform, sorry, we will have this kind of behavior. So if by default we have the twist into the x-axis, but I would like it to into the z-axis. So if I increase the angle, you can see that it will twist like that. Okay, sometimes can be useful. You have the bend one. The bend one will bend it as it says along the z-axis like that. The taper one will make a taper like this. Okay, bigger on top or bigger on the bottom, and the stretch one will stretch it as it says, kind of bounding effect on it. Okay, so sometimes can be useful. Again, this one I don't use it every day, but it's here. You have the three smooth here that make different smooth here. So you have the smooth simple one that we know already. Okay, you increase the factor here at 1, it's better. and you increase the repeat and it will smooth your surface. Okay, so good for organized shapes. You have the smooth corrective. I will hide the first. Okay, and this one will appear only when you have already something on it, and if you decrease the scale here. Okay, so the corrective here, it's more to keep the shape when you deform an object. Like for example, you have an arm and you want to close the arm. Maybe the deformation will not be good. So with the corrective one, you can correct that. So sometimes useful. Here you have the smooth Laplacian. So it's a little like the Laplacian deform. And here you can still, again, play with that, but it will go only into the edges, so little details as you use preserve volume here. Okay, so yeah, sometimes again can be useful, the 3 smooth modifiers. The surface deform is one that I use often, and for that I will use let's create a kind of armor chain like this. So maybe we'll use this kind of object, like we will model very simple shape like that. Okay, and for this I will make a subdivision into the x-axis, make a rotation 90 degrees into the x-axis. Okay, good. And now I will have first link. Okay, and for this I would like to make the same kind of duplication with this one, shift D into the y-axis this time, and make a rotation into the y-axis 90 degrees. Okay, so now I will have this kind of shape. So if I duplicate this with a generate here with the right offset and duplicate this into the x-axis like that, okay, with more and more count, let's say, to have something like that. Okay, let's go to 25 to have a nice nice thing to work with. And let's go with a generate array again, and this time it will not be into the x factor but into the y factor. So it takes the same 0.72. I copy that, Control C, Control V, hide this one. Okay, and now it will go on that way, and if I increase it again until 20, I will have this kind of nice shape here. Okay, so this I would like to deform it, and what I can do for that is using a surface, because we have a lot of vertices here. Imagine you apply everything there. Okay, here you have a lot of vertices to cover, and if you want to deform it non-destructively, it will be complicated. So what I will do here, I will use another object. This object will be a plane, always a simple surface to do that. Okay, so I will scale it on top here to have the right shape and the right size. So SX, okay, put it into the right place. SY, a little bigger is enough. And maybe I will just subdivide it a few times to have enough vertices to be deformed. Okay. Now what I can do is select a modifier here, deform, and deform, surface deform. And if I select this object, the plane here, and that I go in edit mode, maybe with this option I can move my object. Oh yeah, and maybe I need to go there and to bind it just like that. Okay, and now I can move my object just non-destructively. So what is good, for example, if I want to make it stick into the head of Suzanne, for example, let's say, or maybe just a sphere, it would be easier to manage. So I will create a big sphere here. Okay, and scale it into the z-axis to have this kind of surface here. And with a subdivision surface control 2 like that, I will have this kind of shape that I can put under maybe that one. Okay, good. And now if I put a modifier deform shrink wrap to stick on into that one and use the project value here with negative and use this target object, okay, we can see that now the first one is deformed by the surface and the second one here, the surface here, so the plane is deformed by this one. And it will be impossible to make stick this like this, because if I add the shrink wrap directly to this one, everything will stick. So I will lose every details that I have, and everything, all the vertices will stick into the surface. So we will have a crazy shape that doesn't work, only a crazy surface here. So yeah, in that case, it can be very useful to use this kind of technique, okay? The next object, the next modifier here, it's the warp here. So really not this one, again, not that useful. I never used in my project. So yeah, there are really more interesting ways of doing that. And here we have the wave. So the wave can be interesting sometimes. For this, let's add maybe a plane that we subdivide maybe into edit mode, or maybe we'll add a subdivision surface before, just like this, just a simple subdivision surface and we will increase into the viewport just like that to have more subdivisions, and we will add here a deform waves. So what the waves will do, as you can see, I will just increase the size of it. What the waves will do, it works with the animation, okay? So it will create a kind of motion like this, okay? And you can change the shape of it. So for example, here you have on the motion on X and Y here, it's cyclic. You can make the fall off change here. So you can make the height change. You can make the width as well, so to have more or less. Okay, it can be or the narrowness to have something with more triangular shape here. And you can add more options like the start position and is into the Y and the X axis here. So for example, let's say I would like to add one maybe here. Okay, let's say. And the time, I would like that it starts a little after. So like this, I will go here and it will start at this point. Okay. And now I can have another wave, duplicate that one maybe. So just by going this and duplicate that one. And now I will change the position of it and change the time. So the offset will be at 0. So like this, I can see where it starts and when it starts. So maybe that one, I will put it there, okay? And maybe another one with another start position, okay? So I will just duplicate that one. Good. Now I will put it maybe here. Okay, more in the middle and more on top. Good, and make it start with an offset that is even bigger. Okay, somewhere there. And so now I will have the 3 modifiers that will create one here, a second one on here, and the last one on top, okay? So here maybe the size is a little too big, but yeah, it's just to show you that you can manage your waves like that. So it can be good when you add a motion into a water surface or something like this, okay? So that's it for the deform modifiers. and we will see how to use all these modifiers into the next exercises. And first of all, we will model a chain.